Class 1A, Alburnett, the number 1 seed. No surprises that we see these guys up here at the top shares.
Yeah, so Bosco and Alburnett met up at the Battle of Waterloo. I had Bosco 1, Alburnett beats them, so they flip-flop, but your top 3 kind of stayed the same. As far as seeds go, really no surprise, 1 through 5. That was what I had them in my final ranking, and about that most of the year. Where it kind of changed was Jessup and Hinton. I had them flip-flopped, so that'll set up Jessup and Bosco first round at the 3-6, and that'll give Hinton Wilton first round. Wapsie, you kind of figure they were going to be 8 but they did get a big upset at regional duels over West Hancock.
Yeah, and so this, breaking down this first round matchup, the number 1 ranked team, there's 8 ranked wrestlers from Alburnett. We've only got you got 2 potential ranked matchups, right? We always see kind of some shifting in here. Do see Alburnett, big favorite over Wapsie Valley. You got their number 11 in the dual team rankings last week going into regionals. We've got a ranked matchup at 106, number 3, Allie DeWitt versus Caden Belinsky, number 7. And then at 150, we've got a ranked matchup as well. The heart of the lineup of Alburnett, though, starts at 120.
Yeah, so they're a team that's very solid, the bottom half. The top half, not quite as solid. Wapsie Valley, really pretty decent throughout. They've pretty much been a top team all year, so they're definitely good. I think DeWitt and Belinsky, that'll be a good match. Like you said, obviously 5-6 at 150. Another one that I have marked out there is at 215. You have Emmett Fleshman, number 7, and then I think that'd be a good match with Derek Helsenbeck from Wapsie Valley. He actually got a fall that got them pretty much here to state duels for over West Hancock. So that's another one I have penciled out there. Outside of that, you kind of have some mismatches with ranked guys, and then not for Wapsie. But I mean, this is a top 10 team here in Wapsie, so they're going to give them a go.
I'm trying to remember, do they flip at the beginning of, say, a dual championship for where the tournament's going to start and end?
The weight, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know exactly where the tournament will start. Nope. That will happen at weigh-ins?
Yeah.
Just someone from the Iowa High School Athletic Association will flip to where we're at. So that's kind of an unknown of where we're at as far as people gaming, really where they plan to wrestle the first round, second, and the finals ultimately, right? So next matchup, Nashville Plainfield for against Lake Mills. Both teams, have had some dual team losses, right? So these guys have had some adversity, so they're not used to just always winning. But there's only one matchup that you've got highlighted here that we should watch. Maybe Rankin bumps up to Russell Helgelson. What are your thoughts on these guys? Have seen a lot of each other this year.
Yeah, so we kind of have your standard lineup here. I mean, we know there's going to be some bumping around, but you just can't predict it, like you said, with the flip. You just have to see what it's going to be. So we'll just start with what their normal lineup's going to be. But these are 2 teams that have wrestled 4 different times. They've wrestled twice in a duel, and they're in the same conference, and they actually wrestled last week too. So I'm sure when they saw the brackets, they're like, again, we got to wrestle. But Nashua's been a little bit injured throughout the year. They're some of their upper weights, even through the middle. Those guys haven't wrestled every meet. Actually, Lake Mills has won both of the duels they've had. But again, Nashua was without a couple people in each of those. But then the last 2 times they've wrestled at an individual tournament, Nashua Plainfield has come out on top. And even one of those, Nashua still didn't have everybody. So I guess your biggest question here is going to be, is Nashua going to have everyone healthy? Some of those guys have been in and out, but I would imagine, if you're close, you're going to go here. So, this is going to be a good one. These guys have all seen each other. Like you said, there's not any ranked matchups on paper because they don't meet up with each other, but there's going to be a lot of good matches here.
Yeah, one thing that I do like about the dual state championships now that they've moved away from the individual state championships is we see some of those highly ranked wrestlers actually competing. Yep. With teams that are on the bubble here of being 4, 5, 6, 7, we actually see some of those guys competing for seeding purposes. So the duels do matter now more than they did in the past year when they've been at the individual state championship. All right, so let's go down here to the bottom side of the bracket. no stranger to Don Bosco. Obviously, you're a Don Bosco homer. Everyone does know that.
Everyone knows that.
10-4. They had some losses. Battle Waterloo, where there was some controversy there about their seed in that bracket, but they were down. They had a lot of injuries coming into the Battle Waterloo. Is this a team that can get back to the state finals and the state dual championships?
Yeah, I mean they're getting healthy at the right time. That's why you hold guys out, so they're where they need to be at the end of the year. Yeah, I mean I think they're as good as they've been all year right now. So it's at the right time. They match up against Jessup here. Actually met at the Herb Urgens tournament, individual tournament, so they didn't all match up, but definitely no stranger. Bosco actually outplaced them in 10 of the 14 weights. Jessup did in 3, and then one neither guy placed. But what I can say about Jessup, this is the first time they made state duels. Got a big win over Lisbon. It's a good thing I didn't have to go through Jessup on the way down here, because I think there was wanted posters up for me in Jessup. But
yeah, kudos to Jessup, right? They've really been the last few years. They've got some names in there. Bergman, Hines. These guys are they're sophomores, right? So we got a first look to kind of see what this Jessup team would be in the coming years. Last year with a lot of just being young, so they're led by those top ranked wrestlers. But so be interesting to see just kind of how Jessup performs here against Don Bosco, and then on the backside. But there's some fun little matchups.
Yeah, it's not a fluke they're here. We had them number 9 the last ranking. I think 11 was where they started preseason. So they were right there the whole time. Like I said, beat Lisbon to make it. So pretty good team there.
So Bosco's open at 13.
Yep.
Do we see Schwab, Russell, Bergman, or Hines this first matchup? What are your thoughts on what's the right play here? I guess it depends on the flip, right?
Yeah, it always matters with the flip. But I think Bergman and Hines are about. They're both good, so it's not like you're saying, "Hey, let's take the easy 6 here." There, it's about the same thing at both. So, I don't see too much movement there.
Do you wrestle Bergman just so? I could see Bosco saying, maybe we don't want to wrestle Bergman because we're probably going to see him at the individual state tournament. We really don't need that win to win this duel.
So Schwab already wrestled him at that tournament. He pinned him. So, that's the other thing too is these. Like you said, these matches matter because these are for rankings points too. So, you could definitely, if a team doesn't think they have a chance to win, they might try to get that guy they think they're going to have at state just to get the rankings point above him. Yeah. So, I think you see pretty well straight up here for the most part. But yeah,
even being the 3 seed, they've got Schwab number 1, Youngblood number 1, Knack number 1. Both Knacks are number 1 ranked wrestlers. So it's weird when I'm looking, talking about the number 1 seed in the opening of the show, and Don Bosco isn't the number 1 team in the state. It's been a while since we haven't been talking about Bosco being the number 1 team. They're a different dual team than they are a tournament team, but Alburnett is a pretty solid tournament team and dual team. So I can't wait to see how this one really plays out. But they're going to have to go through Wilton, who's undefeated on the team on the bottom side of the second seed, taking on Hinton. They've only had 1 loss on the year too, so good to see Hinton in the state dual championships.
Yeah, so this is the second year in a row they've made it. I think we hit the over on Bosco talk there, and I just want everyone to know you led the way. Anyways, yeah, number 7 seed Hinton, number 2 seed Wilton. I preseason here I had Wilton 2 wire to wire basically. Hinton was at 9, so again not a huge surprise here. This is Hinton's second straight appearance, and that is their second in school history. Wilton, that makes 8 appearances for them. They have won it once, and again, this is their second appearance. So Wilton's championship was back in 1993. You're kind of 2 different sides of the state here, so really haven't met up a ton. Wilton's kind of a team that they're better in the bottom half again, a little lighter in the top half. Hinton, they match up decent against them. They 3 of their ranked guys are against Wilton's ranked guys, so that's not ideal for them. But in the upper weights, they do have 3 ranked guys as well. So, there's going to be points scored here by Hinton for sure.
Both teams are fairly young. Wilton's got 1 senior. Hinton's got 2 seniors on their starting squad, right? So
3 of them, yeah.
We're going to be seeing, Hinton's an up-and-coming team. Those ranked matchups that we're going to see will be at 32, 38, and 44. So that's going to be really the part of the duel that you're going to watch. If it starts at 6, obviously Wilton's going to start strong. And, I just like seeing Hinton because it's not a traditional team that we hear a lot of in Class 1A, right? So kudos to that squad for getting into Class 1A. All right, so kind of looking forward, if we're just going chalk right here in the semifinals, Alburnett, Lake Mills, who do we see in the finals here, you think?
So for me, I have Alburnett and Nashua Plainfield in the semis. Bottom side, I have Bosco and Wilton. No surprise down there. Like we said, 4-5's pretty close meet between Nashua and Lake Mills, but I have Nashua winning that one.
So, if we go to chalk then as far as a number 1, number 2 seed, because you got Bosco Wilton, which is obviously you got a little bias there, but that's going to be probably the duel to watch in the semifinals, right? We'll see Wilton and Don Bosco is the duel to watch.
I disagree. I
think so?
I have Alburnett and Nashua a 1-point duel.
Okay.
If they go straight up. Now again, there's no need to speculate because you don't know what the flip is, so we're just gonna go straight up from there. But I have that one 34-33 Alburnett.
Okay.
So
heck yeah.
It's gonna be a good one. I would have my eye on that one probably. And again, the Bosco and Wilton one, I have that at 39-30 for Bosco. So
okay. So
you're gonna want to watch both.
So
of them.
Bosco going back to the state finals is what you're predicting right now.
That's what the paper says.
Okay. All right. So that's going to be our bracket reveal show. We are going to have Shares going to have a breakdown of all of this, right? We got lineups already that we got projected lineups, right? We're going to have predictions on the website. So stay locked to that here on the next coming days. We're obviously going to be at the Girls State Championship on Thursday and Friday, state duels on Saturday. So that's our Class 1A breakdown.